Hi, I'm Emilia Nieminen, the maker of Innamorata dolls, and this is the third part of my wig making series. In part 1 I showed you how to make hard cap wig base. In part 2 we went through the basics of hot glue technique. This time around I'll show you how I make wefts, hair partings and a natural looking hairline. So, picking up from where we left off, we are getting to the interesting part, the hairline. I love and hate making visible hairlines. They can be challenging, frustrating and also really rewarding when you get them right. I spread the glue outwards towards the face and place a thin layer of hair as soon as possible. This is usually where I burn myself, so monkey use tools, stupid monkey. The silicone bristles of toothbrush don't stick to the glue and don't melt from the heat, so it's my favorite wig making tool. Okay, this is important. Clean up the nozzle of the glue gun regularly from this point on, for even a thread of glue will mess up the hairline. As you can see, not all of the hair stuck to the glue. I'm using a light touch of the nozzle to reheat the existent glue again without adding any. You want to get the hairs to stick without soaking them through. I do melt the part that will be outside the hairline and at the very edge of it, but we get to treating that part in the end of this video. Speed up. I'm just repeating the same motions on the other side and filling in the in-between. Note here that I'm cutting the next lock of hair a bit longer to keep the overall length even. I'm changing the orientation of each layer to create a sort of square shape on the top where the side parting will go. Time warp! It's the next night in the footage. When I said in part 2 that this was the fast method, it's very relative. I think everything I make tends to take days and weeks and months to make, especially now that I'm not able to pull my normal 16-hour days because of my Japanese studies. We are edging closer and closer to the parting. I want quite a bit of volume in this area, so I'm adding very tight layers. I'm also making the glue seams rather wide because I plan to curl this wig, and that will take a lot of pulling. For the parting, we'll finally be prepping some wefts. I'm using a silicone mat as base so the glue doesn't stick. Just squirt a generous string of glue on the mat, place the hair on it, spaced nice and evenly, and brush the hairs in with the silicone bristle toothbrush. Use the nozzle to work the glue into the hair so all of it sticks nicely together. I use the silicone pad on the toothbrush handle to flatten the seam. See how easily the glue comes off the silicone? It's brilliant. I'm using a simple toothbrush here, but if you want to go more pro, you can get silicone tipped sculpting tools like this. They're great for precision work, but in these videos I want to try and use tools that are inexpensive and easily accessible to all. Flip the weft around and melt again on the other side. Add more glue if needed. I know I simply fast forwarded through this footage without explanation in the previous video, so I hope it's more useful now that I'm explaining what I'm doing in more detail here. Cut off the messy extra. I usually make the glue seam wide enough to keep both sides together so I can repurpose the shorter bits. I love hot glue for being so forgiving. If the weft you make ends up too thick or some hairs aren't sticking, you can just reheat the glue and add more when needed. If you have too much glue, just use the side of the dry nozzle to work it outwards and away from the hair. Carefully, not to burn your fingers, you can stretch the still warm weft, shape it to a more rounded arc, or part it to smaller sections. A bit of tidying up with scissors and we have both sides of our parting ready to be glued. It's starting to look like a wig. This is the part I really hate because I often mess it up and need to redo the parting. So it's prudent to keep some hair in reserve to patch up all those bald spots. At this point it helps to put the hair in a ponytail to keep it out of the way for a moment. I'm marking up the hairline again to help me find the right spot for the side parting. I'm using the dry and clean nozzle to push the hairline a bit higher, as it has been kind of creeping down the forehead. This weft will be the visible hairline in the left, but it looks like I'll be needing a bit more space for it. So I'll clean up the nozzle and give the hairline a bit of a facelift by melting the current layer deeper. This way I'll gain enough surface to glue the new layer on it. Adding a bit of glue and carefully pressing the weft at the exact hairline. This time we can't melt it through because that would look messy and darker, so I just refined the hairline a bit with the dry tip. Remember to keep that nozzle clean. Same thing adjusting all the moving parts. I need to move the side parting a bit deeper after lifting the hairline, so I'll melt the area for it and add a bit of glue to create a more stable contact surface. Moment of truth. Gluing on the left side of the parting. Phew, I didn't mess up yet. Oh wait, I did. There's some gunk in there. I hope I can get it off. Yes. I almost forgot to show you an important trick for weft making as I prep the side parting wefts off camera. Sorry about that. But I'll show you the idea here as I'll fix a spot in this one. So to make a parting or hairline, you want to fold the glue seams of the weft underneath itself to hide it. You just warm up the seam, fold and press. You can use the clean nozzle to manipulate the hairs from a clean side to make sure that they follow in the direction that you want to set them in. Be careful not to let the glue underneath melt through, as this is exactly what I kind of did here. If you mess up, this is how you fix it. Add a bit of glue and a tiny bit of hair on the underside, but pointing to the opposite direction. Make the seam nice, flat and tidy again and let it cool. Now brush the hairs to the tidy side and use the heat to persuade them to lay flat while you hold them in place. You can see now that the weft starts looking like a natural parting. This side of the parting should be slightly rounded instead of straight, so I need to adjust it a bit after trying it on the spot. You need to figure out in which order the last pieces go in. I have 2 pieces left to fit, the right side hairline and the right side parting. I think for this look the hairline should go in first, but this depends completely on the style of wig you're making. So, shaping the hairline a bit, I warm up a small section to create a curve. I think round hairlines on dolls look kind of playline, and the whole point of hardcap wigs making is in the way that it can be used to create natural hairline with sideburns, a widow's peaks, baby hairs and all the lovely details you can come up with. Testing. Now it fits. Yes. Time to glue on the hairline. And I wandered off camera again. Ugh. When I'm doing precision work, I completely forget that I'm filming. I'm using a pin and the heat from the dry nozzle to try and convince some individual rebellious hairs to cooperate here. This is it, the final weft. I'm prepping the area and adding a teeniest bit of glue before popping the right side of the parting on its place. Wish me luck. Oh, so far so good. I use the dull edge of the scissors to press a deeper groove into the parting. This makes it stronger and makes the parting look more natural, giving the wig a good brush. Few hairs always come out, so don't be startled as long as it's not like big tufts. Okay, let's cut this wig off the wig making head. I use a specific head sculpt for each wig as Innamorata's skull shapes vary and I want the hairline to suit each face perfectly. I carefully cut around the face and far from the hairline to avoid any mishaps. Cutting the layers of yarn helps loosen the wig. Then I make incisions behind the ears to free the head from its cocoon. It helps to tie up the hair to keep it out of the way while cutting the wig cap to shape. Try to cut as close to the hairline as possible, but be careful not to cut the hairs in the back where they flow towards the hairline. It's better to work slowly and in small parts than try to rush and ruin all your hard work. Time to touch up that hairline. Note that after cutting the wig loose, I rewrap the wig head in a fresh cling wrap to protect it. You can see the dark glued area where I've glued in the first layer to hide the edge of the wig cap on the sides. I'll show you how to do it with the middle part. I'm using the dry nozzle to refine the shape of the hairline, pushing it a bit higher to form a clearer widow's peak. This melts the existing glue, so I was hoping not to have to add any glue at this point. When the hairline is still warm, I press the new hairs onto it, but there isn't enough to do the trick, so I'm forced to add a bit of glue. I try to keep it as clean as possible. Happily, this time it sticks. I'm using different scissors and the hot nozzle, hot and cold metal tools in turns to attach the hairs. This wig is meant to have huge volume on top to have that 50s finger curled look in the end. I'll show you how to curl the hair on the wig and how to set the curls in wanted style in the next part of this video series. Here we are, hairline is glued and nice and wispy. I'm using a comb to give a wig a bit of a harsher test drive, but happily everything seems to hold well in place. Now we have to do the time warp again, because I promised to show you how to do the hairline in this video, yet I didn't actually do it until I was done curling the wig. Hence the weird shape-shifting wig. So after removing the wig head, the hairline is sticking to the cling wrap. I cut it first into approximate shape, leaving maybe 1 to 2 millimeter room from the actual hairline. This is so we can have a material to cut into nice and wispy, natural looking hairline. I do this by alternating the angle of the scissors to snip away towards the hairline. Sorry, I keep escaping the camera while I turn the angle towards me. This is slow work, but so worth it. Done right, this really gives an illusion of the hair growing from the doll's scalp. Brush away the clippings and keep at it. You can see the huge difference it makes compared to the straight cut hairline. You do need really sharp scissors for this, and I sharpen mine regularly. Popping the wig back on the doll's head to check that everything fits tightly. It feels quite rewarding to see the wig finally finished. If you're making a straight hair wig, you're already done. Congratulations. If you want to make these 50s femme fatale type of look, I'll see you in the next video for all the curling and styling. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to my channel.